Good afternoon, IAEM. Allow me to present to you my case for inclusion. This story begins over a decade ago when I was emergency manager for the University of Massachusetts in Boston, an urban public research university known for its diversity, including diversity of people with disabilities, particularly veterans with disabilities. All the veterans here today, thank you for your service. As emergency manager, I was charged with providing civilian active threat training with our police. We used the Ready Houston Run, Hide, Fight video. You may know it. We've made presentations large and small. One particularly large presentation training was in a space not as big as this, included students, faculty, and staff. Now, one thing you might not know about people from Boston, I'll let you in on a secret. We tend not to be shy. When it was time to open up for questions, a woman in the back raised her hand and said, "This training is useless. I got a bad knee." If you're not familiar with this video, it shows people sprinting to safety, moving heavy objects in front of doors, lifting things like fire extinguishers and chairs, preparing to fight. I realized she was right. Like any good emergency manager, I went looking for guidance. Was there official guidance for people with disabilities? This was before Vance Taylor developed his excellent comprehensive guide. Was there guidance? No. I went to trainings, I searched websites, I went to conferences like this. I went up after the talks and approached people from DOJ, DHS, FBI, "Can you help me?" I even somewhat obsessively started finding news clips, photos of people with disabilities. Here are some examples here to prove, here's the evidence that these folks are out and about and they may be at the scene of one of these horrible, horrible events. Still no guidance. I decided to start simple. The disabilities advocates say nothing about us without us. So I started talking with folks, and I started simple with run, hide, fight, run being the problematic word. Were there other words we might think about? This was back when word clouds were in. Vamoose, skedaddle. How about wheel or escape? I also sought out allies, people like Rob Sampson from the MBTA, who routinely invites people from multiple disability communities to participate in his transit exercises, or Kate McCarthy Barnett from FEMA Region 2. Working with UMass Boston Police, we met and did brainstorming sessions. Here's Sergeant Diane Kirkpatrick meeting with Diane Murphy, who uses a wheelchair in a large office space, and Diane's colleagues to brainstorm. We partnered with the Institute for Community Inclusion, which employs many people with disabilities. Here's Sergeant Camborian working with John Kelleher, the receptionist, to find hiding places. Here's Jen Bose and her service dog, Nitra. Jen volunteered to be a controller for an exercise and then wanted to participate. Her observations helped us develop guidance for people who are blind. We also invited Valerie Haven from our Disability Support Office to participate. Here she is with Justin Camo planning an exercise that she would then participate in. I took this picture. You'll see in the right-hand corner of the picture a young officer who entered the room You should have seen the look on his face when Valerie cried out, "I'm blind and I'm holding a cane." He was not expecting that. He performed well under pressure with a realistic scenario, with a real person, with a real disability. It was good training for him, and it was good training for the community. Isn't that what preparedness is all about? More recently, I was in Chicago at Sadie Martinez's conference presenting the inclusive NYU active threat training video, and I met Kimberly Wong. She asked, "Do police work and train with people like me who use communications devices?" I don't know. Do they? We've done so much, but we've got so much more to do. Here's my case for inclusion. The CDC says that 26% of adults in the US have some sort of disability. If we are not planning with, as well as for, not just for, but with people with disabilities, what do we get? Is that a 74? Is that a C? When lives are at stake, are we going to be the kind of emergency managers happy with a C? I don't think so. If that doesn't move us, consider Chris Goldie, another UMass Boston person. He uses a wheelchair. I said, "Hey, Chris, we're going to do an exercise next week. Are you interested in participating?" He said, "Anne-Marie, I saw the video. Why would I do that? I'm just going to die. If that happens, I have no chance." Chris deserves better. Our community deserves better. As emergency managers, we need to ask ourselves, this plan, this policy, this procedure, this training, has it been designed, has it been developed with people with disabilities in mind? Better still, have people with disabilities been involved in the development? We need to remember, nothing about us without us. We need to try for the A. People with disabilities need to be in the room, on the Zoom, at the table. Thank you very much for allowing me to present my case.